I can explain. Good evening and welcome back to Venom's Vault, the podcast where I talk about drag, horror, and my other niche interests. I'm your hostess, Venom, the plus-size vampire MILF of South Texas, and tonight I'm just gonna update you on what's been going on in my little life, okay? So yes, I know that it's a little bit dramatic with like smeared lipstick and a bruised eye, but honestly, that's how the past few weeks have felt. So a lot's been going on and I'm about to fill you in. So let's get into it. Okay, as you can tell by my little look that I have right now, it is very bruised, beaten up, janky horror. And yeah, that's what it's been. Okay, starting with the good news, I just got a little part-time job over the summer while I'm waiting to go back to school, which has been great. I love everybody that I work with. I love my coworkers. I love my managers. I love everybody at the job, honestly. It's been so fun. It's been a great way to spend my summer. And honestly, I'm considering continuing whenever I go back to school. And so that was the good part. Here in South Texas, in the more city part, Austin, we have a thing called a Lime scooter. These Lime scooters are $1 to book, and then they're like 36 or 39 cents a minute, some odd thing like that, right? So another thing about the area that I live in is that we have potholes. We have uneven roads. We have uneven sidewalks. We have uneven terrain, period. So one day coming home from work, I was about halfway done walking back to the apartment and I decided, let me take a Lime scooter. And so I did. And for reference, how much of the walk I had completed, it only cost me $2.35. So I was riding the scooter as anybody else would, right back to the place that I lived, my dwelling, if you will. And the brakes weren't working and I needed to stop. So I was turning the corner and I hit the fucking dumpster. Yeah, so I hit the dumpster and I fell on my ass. And I got up and noticed that my hand was leaking with blood. And so I get back to my dwelling and I'm like, okay, let me wrap it up, let me bandage it. And so I do. And so I call my mom and I show her a picture of it. And she says, you're gonna need stitches, bitch. So I was like, I'm gonna need stitches. So I go to the urgent care and I get my stitches. And I'm like, wow, you would have thought that that would have taught me a lesson. It didn't. So a few days later, I'm late for work. They scheduled me at 6 a.m. My alarm was set for 6 a.m. I got up at 5:49 in the morning to go to the restroom. Coming back, I saw the time on the oven and I was like, wow, I'm late. So I got out of bed, I put on a work shirt and I ran out the door. Just the work shirt. I was still in my pajama bottoms. So being late, I was like, oh my goodness, let me get to work. So I rode a scooter to work. No issues. I got there at 6:11 as opposed to 6 a.m. But everything was okay. I explained what was going on. They said, you're fine. So about an hour into my shift, they say, hey, those shorts are not in dress code. I'm going to need you to go home and change. Okay, fair. I clock off. I got on the scooter. I come back to the apartment. I change. And then on my way back, I hit a pothole on the scooter on the way back to work. And not just any pothole. A hard pothole. Hard. So I'm like, oh my goodness, that was horrible. Let me get back up. I get back up, I take a step, and I can't walk. My knee felt like it was popping out of fucking place. So, because I tried to get up 3 more times and I still fell back on my ass because I couldn't fucking walk, my knee kept shifting out of place, I think, oh my God, is it broken, dislocated, fractured? What's wrong with my knee? So I call the ambulance like any sane person would do. They wheel me away in the ambulance. You know, I love attention, so it's fine. I get to the hospital. They take an x-ray of my knee and they tell me, your knee isn't broken, dislocated, or fractured. They gave me a work note for 3 days. They gave me some crutches and a brace and tell me to go home. That's what I do. So I can't walk for a fucking week. I had to give up 3 of my shifts at work and just the best part's coming. That Friday, I was supposed to go back home and see my family and perform a booked, paid drag show. Luckily, this is where the miracle happens. I get back home, I acquaint my family, and so the day of the show comes. And what happens is I get ready with my gimp knee in drag with my knee brace on. I'm crutching around the whole entire house back home, trying to put on my wig, trying to put on my costume, getting my makeup done. And so I do all of that, and then I get to the gig, sitting my ass down in an office wheeling chair, and I'm meeting and greeting the guests and everything like that. Right before I'm about to go on stage, I put my high heels on and I stand up, and lo and behold, I'm at least able to walk. There are some things that I would do that I felt like my knee was going to pop out of place, but nonetheless, I was able to walk, which I was very, very grateful for. Now that I'm able to at least walk, I was able to perform and get a good amount of tips and get a good crowd reaction. And that was extremely satisfying because I was so upset with myself for putting myself in that predicament, not once, but twice. My lesson for that little story is don't ride a Lime scooter ever, at all, because you will fall off and you can get stitches. Or your knee just happens to not be working after you fall and it keeps popping out of place and you can't walk for over a week. Or do, and that's fine. But in all seriousness, though, that is what's been going on a little bit of my personal life the past few weeks. And I took a little bit of time off from recording Venom's Vault just so I could focus on the packed month of June that I had. Well, packed for me. I had 4 shows. I was very grateful to attend them and to perform. And that is what I love doing. And so having this little injury happen to me, not only once, but twice. Let me show you the stitches. These are my stitches. They're gone now, but that's my hand that's healing still. And so I was able to perform at least, and my knee is still recovering right now. There are times where it still wants to pop out of place. And whenever I say that, I think people think I'm talking about the bone. It just like pops weirdly, and then it kind of like immobilizes me to where I can't walk. So something is kind of dislocated. I didn't get an MRI. I'm very grateful that I didn't have to have knee surgery or anything like that because, I am a plus size vampire MILF and I didn't want to be out of commission for too long, not be able to work, not be able to perform. And so I'm very grateful to be sitting here before you today and laughing about it because it is silly. And I don't even know if this episode is long enough to constitute a real episode. This might be episode 6.5. It might be episode 7. And I'm literally just like yapping about what happened to me these past few weeks because it has been a lot. But like I said, I'm able to sit before you today and laugh about them because it is pretty silly. I'm a little bit hard headed. I get that from my dad. And so I didn't learn the first time. So it had to be the thing that just took me out for me to slow down a little bit and not take a scooter anymore. So I definitely learned my lesson after that. You will never see Venom on a Lime scooter. And if you do, it is an imposter. It is not me. Call help. There's been an imposter, there's been alien invasion of the body snatchers. That is not me. So I will never be on a scooter again. I am all bruised up and beaten by life at this point. But you know what? There's still a little bit of fierceness in all of this. There's something so beautiful about rising from the ashes and getting back up, dusting yourself off and not doing it on the other side, but just continuing at a different pace, slowing down. I'm still strutting in my platform heels, just slightly slower than usual. I'm still healing, I'm still recovering, but it all comes with time. I'm very grateful to be able to tell the tale. I didn't get hit by a car on a Lime scooter. I didn't hurt myself so severely that I needed surgery. And so those are things that I'm extremely grateful for. And I just wanted to come on here and make a podcast episode about why I've been MIA with not only the podcast, because I just have been busy, but just in general with content and posting online because, hey, shit happens. And sometimes you just gotta dust yourself off and make a funny podcast episode about it. And that's what I'm doing today for all of you lovely people. If you can see me on YouTube, there's the visual gag of me looking all beaten up and bruised. And if you're listening on Spotify, it's worth the watch on YouTube. So I hope you make that shift. I just want to say thank you all so much for y'all's support of Venom's Vault and for Venom as a queen, as an artist, as a creator, as it were, because it has not been easy these past few weeks, ladies. Let me tell you that. However, the show must go on. I nursed a knee injury while performing on stage, and I did it pretty damn well, and I'm very proud of myself for that. But this has definitely taught me the lesson to not ride a Lime scooter, first of all, because I'm just not built for it. They're just not for me. And also just keep going whenever life throws you curveballs, because this could have been a way worse injury and accident than it was. I'm very grateful that it wasn't. However, it has definitely taught me to also just slow down a little bit. I should have just accepted the fact that I was late, taken the 2 extra minutes to change into some work appropriate pants, and not go out there looking a fool and having to waste $6.58 to go to and from, and then just hurt myself and call the ambulance instead, which also cost me another significant amount of money. And so I just want to let you all know that I'm doing much better now. I'm still healing, but I still definitely want to do drag and create some content here on Venom's Vault. So I hope you can all stay tuned for that. And so at the end of the day, what I want you to take away from this story and this little silly thing is that drag takes a lot of work. And sometimes life throws you curveballs that are outside of your drag character's control. And sometimes you have to take a little bit of a break, and that's okay. That I keep reiterating the fact that I'm so grateful that this injury wasn't worse than it actually was. And I'm very grateful for that, like I said. And I just want to let all of you know that drag does take a lot of work. I style every wig that I wear. I do my own makeup. I make a good portion of the things that I wear. I style everything myself. I rhinestone these sunglasses for a performance that I did a few weeks ago. There's so much that goes into it, and there's so much work and passion that I have for this craft. And I really want to continue pursuing it. Like, this hair that I styled is going to be in a number in the future. And although I'm not able to rehearse or perform that number full out at the moment, I still have the time to make the costume pieces for it, which I'm very excited for everyone to see. So at the end of the day, just slow down. If you're late, just accept that you're late. Take the few extra minutes to change into something that's work appropriate. Take the few extra minutes to eat yourself some breakfast, because at the end of the day, you're already late. And if that's your last step for termination at work, well, so be it. And if it's your first time being late, just accept it. It happens to the best of us. It happens to everyone every once in a while. And that's okay. As long as you just be honest and explain yourself, usually 9 times out of 10, you're fine. And if you're not, well, just remember that life goes on. You're going to get through this moment just like you've gotten through so many other hard moments in your life. And that's just what life's all about. I want everybody that watches this podcast, listens to this podcast, and stream this podcast to know that at the end of the day, life keeps going on. And that it's okay to have some fuck ups here and there, even if it costs you not being able to walk for a week like it did for me. Look, life knocked me down on my ass, literally and figuratively and emotionally. But at the end of the day, life's all about healing and getting back up even stronger. And that's what I'm currently working on. Although I'm still not walking amazingly, or my knee isn't back to normal, as it were, I remove my stitches. My skin is still healing, and life goes on, as it were. And there is a lot, like I said, that goes into doing this art form and this craft, because Venom is a character that is using my boy body's vessel as the performance art piece. And so that's what I love most about it, is that I'm able to create my own sort of character and create my own sort of fantasy and my own sort of world. You've never seen Venom this kind of fucked up, but I mean, Venom is ultimately a reflection of the things that I go through outside of drag, and I hope that you can all see my perspective whenever I say that. So please, please, please be careful if you do ride scooters. Even though I advise against it, I can't tell you what to do. So I hope that you can learn from my mistakes and not ride those fucking lime scooters. And just be careful whenever you're doing things that are dangerous. Even though I didn't know that going to work and back was going to be something dangerous, yet it was. So like I said, please take care of yourself. Please be safe. Thank you so much for listening, watching, and or streaming this episode of Venom's Vault, wherever you get your podcasts. I apologize for it being a little bit of a shorter episode, but I definitely wanted to update you on my current status and my current situation. So thank you so much again for listening, watching, and or streaming on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And I will see you next time in the vault. Bye.